Hello everyone, welcome to the cnft.tools Discord server. I'm ToolSin and I am joined by the team from Raccoon Syndicate. So yeah, been looking forward to this one for a long time. If you guys would like to introduce yourself and we can have a go from there.
Yeah, go for it, Kiama. Do you want to get us kicked
Oh,
off?
okay. Sure. So I'm Kiama, and I'm the 3D artist for Raccoon Syndicate. I've been working in animation and 3D for maybe a little over a decade, and mostly in character art, so modeling, texturing, surfacing, that sort of thing. Worked for a number of studios, and in the last 2 years, I've been doing a lot of independent. Started my own business running 3D art, and then that's how Timmy and I kind of met, and we created the 3D version of Timmy, which a lot of you might have seen. And then from there, we really enjoyed working together, so we decided to collaborate on what is today now Raccoon Syndicate.
Yeah, that's right. My name is Timmy. I'm up here in Northern Canada. I see a few Canadians now down in the audience. Um, and yeah, I have a YouTube channel, Cardano Ecosystem News. And I initially met Kiama to create a 3D version of Timmy the cat. If you go way back on my YouTube channel, you'll see some of the videos have a 2D animated cat. But then in January, we created a 3D one, and it's all powered by motion capture. I've got like 12 sensors on all of my joints and 6 light boxes on the ceiling, and that's all powered by the 3D model that Kiama built and rigged. And so that's how we met. And in January, late January, early February, we started some concept discovery, kind of mood boarding for Raccoon Syndicate. And so we've been working on this for about 8 months now, and yeah, excited for the mint next Saturday.
Wow, yeah. I mean, you guys have definitely done a good job in getting the word out. I mean, sort of like we've got a whole ton of people in the AMA now, and I mean, the lights counter on the CNFT.tools calendar is going absolutely crazy. Like it's at the minute it's our second highest total ever, I want to say.
Oh wow!
So yeah, like you guys are absolutely killing it.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
we've been very lucky. We have a really strong community, and we have great moderators. And yeah, we've had a lot of support from a number of followers that have been following Timmy on his YouTube channel for a long time as well.
Yeah, and let's give a quick shout out to the moderators. I see a couple of them downstairs in the audience there. Surge Governance, we already talked about. Professor Z is our community lead and has done amazing work. Set up over 110, I think, maybe even Discord collaborations and things like that to help partner with other projects. And then we've got Nico in the Philippines, Brew in Brazil, and a Noble Nerd is another Lazy Llamas member who joined our moderator team, and he's in Canada.
Yeah, quite the international team there then.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. It was intentional so that we would have kind of 24-hour coverage, 24-hour presence for moderation coverage. But it's also just been a great bonus to like joke in the mods chat about different terms and just different cultures. So yeah, it's shifting from a team to more of a family. I would say now.
yeah, I mean that's absolutely awesome. I mean, is there anyone on the sort of like the main team, as it were, aside from yourself and Kiyama, or is it just the two of you plus the community?
Yeah, right now it's Kiama and I, and so we were solo on this from January until we launched in June, around mid June, and then in mid June is when we were fortunate enough to bring on the moderators, and then so there's 4 moderators, and then Zach is the community lead. Professor Z actually is his new name. He also has a YouTube channel. There's a lot of really cool Lazy Llama and Raccoon Syndicate coverage on there. So check out Professor Z on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely. I'll head over there later on, I'm sure. So you mentioned that you run Cardano Ecosystem News. How much do you think that's helped you with this whole process of, sort of like building your community for Raccoon Syndicate?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Toolsin. I think We've only actually done one video on the channel about Raccoon Syndicate. So from that perspective, it's very limited. However, I think it's actually been a huge help because by doing the YouTube channel, over the last 9 or 10 months, I was able to meet a ton of project founders, and we covered a ton of projects on the YouTube channel over the months, and now they're helping us. And so I think we were able to build a lot of goodwill and partnerships through the channel. So I'm not using the channel too much to like, shill or talk about Raccoon Syndicate. In fact, I've just been so focused on Raccoon Syndicate, I haven't done a video since early June. That said, there will be a new video on Wednesday or Thursday, just all about Raccoon Syndicate. I'm going to do a deep dive on the channel. But yeah, I think the channel has helped us by building those relationships with other project founders, as well as, kind of just building trust. A big part of this is trusting the team, trusting the founders, and I've been able to build some really strong relationships with the viewers of the channel. And so, yeah, I think it has helped, but in a more kind of like maybe indirect way, but almost like a more important way than some kind of a shill video.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it
mean,
kind of led to all the other relationships that you've built over the last couple of years since you dived into Cardano. So it has been a help, like a secondary help in a lot of ways, because you've built so many strong relationships and you've been well respected in the area, and you've been involved in a lot of other projects as well, not just as an investor, but you've spoke about a lot of them and gave a lot of them their start as well. So we've had a lot of support come back our way because of that, which has been really great.
yeah, I mean that's awesome. I mean it's not often well there's a few, but there's not often where somebody who hasn't necessarily been involved on the NFT side as a producer then gets involved. Like there's a couple like Gary Vee and stuff like bigger like the big guys, but we haven't had much of that sort of like to focus on Cardano yet, and it's great to see it happening.
Yeah, it's I think it's been a strength. I think, that kind of networking, marketing component, as well as the amazing art that Kiyama has done. Shout out Brew, who just joined in the audience. That's our other moderator. And then the third component is development as well. Like, I'm an engineer. I've been an engineer for a little over 20 years now. Started in the game industry, more recently in the startup world, Silicon Valley type of stuff. But that has allowed me to do some pretty cool stuff with the blockchain. We're actually going to be using my custom minter. It's a minter that I've been using for the stake pool that I run. And if you've been delegating to that stake pool, you'll be familiar that you can get a free NFT minted as part of a delegation reward. And so we've kind of remixed that minter. And then we have this concept called hold to earn, which maybe we'll get into in a minute, but that is powered by a Plutus Haskell script that I've also written. It's simple though. It's just a random number generator, but it's going to be on chain, written in Plutus Haskell for Cardano, and so all the random numbers will be totally transparent, immutable, and auditable. So it's something I'm quite proud of, and so I think the engineering and the art and the marketing are coming together.
You
Yeah,
see,
and there's no undervalue to that engineering side of things. I mean, he's really put together the website through it. He's done the minting and everything. He's even done all the rendering for the 3D art using his scripting ability. So yeah, it's been a massive bonus that that he's been able to do that for us.
yeah, I mean, I always laugh when a dev says, "Oh, well, it's simple. I just did this, and this," and you understand maybe 20% of what they've just said.
That's me. That's when it comes to me about the coding.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not a code monkey to say the least. Like I have absolutely no idea. I can interpret it given time, but I could never write it or understand it on anything more than a very basic level.
Yeah, it's magic, isn't it? The way that they do it. I mean, just the way that he's rendered. Like we've rendered about 5,000 of the collection at the moment, and I just can't believe that he was able to do that script alone. I mean, he didn't even have to really dive too much into the 3D side of things with the rendering, and it's very impressive that you can do all that with code.
Yeah, one cool thing is all of our NFTs are rendered in Maya directly. I've talked about this a couple times, but we don't render out like each trait or each like hat or each, tool and then composite them in Photoshop. A lot of projects do that, 3D projects, but we actually render each NFT in Maya. I have a Python script, which is Maya's like native language, kind of. They have their native language and then Python. And anyway, this script composites all of the traits for one NFT, and then it runs like the renderer. And what's cool is that allows us to have really cool glow effects, shadows, lighting, refractions, reflections. You'll see some of that on our website at raccoonsyndicate.com, how different traits affect the rest of the clothing. And that's because the whole NFT is rendered in Maya, which is a professional grade 3D modeling software, which is used, by most, I would say most of the studios and game companies still today.
Yeah, and it was something that we really did intentionally from the start. We designed the project that way, knowing that that's the way that we wanted to render. We'd done some experimentation prior at the start, and there's just a much higher quality in the 3D and in the picture and the render that you end up with if you allow all the assets and the character themselves to be affected by the bounce light from each other. And be able to see, the reflection of whatever they're holding in their hands. You can see that in the eyes. You can see it putting their own light and shadow on their clothing. And it's just something that we can't fake if we were to layer it in Photoshop in post. So it's something that was important to us from the start to be able to do that. And so we have always allowed ourselves time at the end, weeks it takes actually to render that many NFTs by hand through 3D and then go through each of them. So it's been a process, but I think that we're both really happy with the way that they've come out, and I'm really glad that we went down that route.
So I do just want to sidestep slightly. YouTube does love like the 10-minute mark for mentioning important material, and I did just want to double check the time of the mint and the day of the mint and the mint price and those important details.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, ToolSin, and shout out Jesse who just joined. We're going to be doing our whitelist mint on Saturday, August 13th. And we're going to be doing it early in the morning, North American time. We're going to announce the exact time, probably Tuesday, but it'll be in the morning hours, Pacific time on Saturday the 13th. And that's going to be our whitelist mint. Now, we've actually allocated about 96% of the 5,000 supply, to the whitelist. And there's a few more we still have to do. So we do expect most of the supply to go on that Saturday. The price is 110 ADA. And wallets, people are registering their wallets right now. There's still 3 days left to register your wallet. Make sure to do that before Tuesday, August 9th. But we do expect most of it to go on Saturday. And then depending on how much is left, we'll do the public mint on Sunday the 14th. And our plan is to probably do that at the exact same time. So it'll be the same time of day, sometime in the morning on the 14th for the public mint. And that is just 10 ADA more, 120 ADA. But yeah, we don't expect a lot of the collection to be going out at that price.
Yeah, so make sure if you want to get in, make sure you get on the whitelist, basically.
Yeah, and it's important to get on the whitelist. Our max whitelist is 4, so you can get whitelisted 4 times if you win 4 contests or do 4 tweets and get chosen. But a lot of people are trying to go for this 6-2-1 strategy, because if you have 3 of the farmers and hunters that we're minting this weekend, for every 3 that you have, you'll get a whitelist into our next mint, which is our tier 2 raccoons. Those raccoons are going to mint in late September, and they'll be a little bit more powerful for our hold to earn game. So those are pretty attractive raccoons. You're going to want 3 of the tier 3s that we're minting this weekend in order to get 1 whitelist for the tier 2s. And you're going to want 2 of the tier 2s in order to get whitelist for the tier 1, which mints at the end of October. And those are much more limited supply. So they'll be much more rare. And so the strategy that a lot of people are taking is to try and get 6 this weekend in order to get 2 in September, in order to get 1 in October. And that's how you can unlock your journey all the way to tier 1 which are going to be the most rare, powerful of the raccoons.
I think it's quite good because if you're holding 6 of the tier 3 that's coming out on the 13th or the 14th, you know that you're gonna get a whitelist immediately to tier 1.
So, what's going to be the differences between the tier 3, tier 2, and tier 1 raccoons?
Yeah.
Tim, did you want to do mechanics about that first, and then I'll talk about the art for it?
Okay, maybe what we'll do, yeah, I'll talk about the mechanics, and then maybe while you talk about the art, I'm gonna get an announcement post ready. We're about to make a post in the announcement channel of our Discord to
Yes.
reveal our new syndicate. So maybe while Kiama's talking, I'll get that ready. But first, on the mechanics of the different tiers, each raccoon is gonna have a metadata field. It's gonna have a trait, which is called your base points multiplier. And so that's basically the base multiplier for how many points that raccoon will earn in our hold to earn game, which will come out shortly after all the mints. And the tier 3 base point multipliers for our base raccoons is 1.0. But for tier 2s, they'll be a little bit higher. For example, maybe 1.3 or 1.2. And then for the tier 1s, they'll be a little bit higher, somewhere around 1.3 or 1.4. And so that 1 number will get multiplied by, let's say, 100 points every 5 days. And so if you have a very base tier 3 raccoon, you'll get 100 points every 5 days. And at the end of our 2-month battle round, you'll end up somewhere on our global leaderboard. And depending on what rank you are, how many points you've earned, you'll get a free NFT. If you're very high on the leaderboard, you'll get a very rare, kind of powerful, unique NFT. And if you're lower, you'll get maybe a less valuable NFT, but still an NFT that you could sell on JPG Store or use otherwise. So tier 2 and tier 1 raccoons that are coming later will have just a slightly higher base point multiplier. And so by default, they'll earn more points. Now that said, at the end of every 2 months, a lot of the NFTs that we're going to be giving out are upgrade NFTs. So things like a golden ring or a sapphire ring. And you can attach that to your raccoon, and we're going to actually render a new raccoon for you in real time using Maya, and that'll show the new golden ring or the diamond ring or whatever it is that you're attaching to that raccoon, and we'll update the base points multiplier number. So now your raccoon will be earning more points for the next round of the game. So the NFTs that you win will upgrade the base points multiplier, just like the tier 2 and tier 1 start off with a higher base point multiplier. But through these upgrade NFTs, which you'll be able to win or buy from JPG Store and other marketplaces like Flipper, Free Roam, you'll be able to buy those upgrade NFTs. And even if you have a farmer or a hunter, if you buy the right rings and jewelry and other upgrades, they can end up at the top of the leaderboard. So it's going to be quite a dynamic leaderboard.
Okay. So, does the rarity of different traits have any effect on the points that it's earning, or is it just a flat amount, regardless of any rarities?
Yeah, you got it, ToolSin. There's quite a bit of depth there because we want to have a lot of dynamism in the leaderboard. And so let's just take the tier 3 raccoons for a minute. We have 10 skins. We've released 8 of the skins because one of is our base skin, and then we have 9 special skins. 7 of those 9 special skins have been released, and those skins have different rarities, slightly different rarities. And depending on how rare the skin is, which we're calling the genus, it's the genus of the raccoon, like the nature genus or the golden genus. The rarer ones will have a very slightly higher base points multiplier. And so these kind of numbers will be 1.1 versus 1.5 versus 1.2. So just like a 0.05 difference. And so those are the skins. And then you'll notice a lot of our raccoons hold traits in their hands. So that some raccoons are holding like a pumpkin, and another raccoon is holding like a bat. We have a bat that's somewhat inspired from The Walking Dead.
Nice.
And so during the 2-month battle round, we have what we're calling the raccoon heartbeat. It's the heartbeat of the project, where Kiama and I, or all, other people from our team, will go onto YouTube, onto Twitter Spaces or spaces like this every 10 days. And every 10 days, we'll have an event where everyone can log in and watch as we pick a random number using that Plutus script on chain that I talked about. And let's say we pick the number 37. There'll be a pre-published list of all the traits and skins and other attributes that we haven't announced yet, and they'll each have a number. And so the number 37 might say pumpkin raccoons. If it does, then every raccoon that's holding a pumpkin will get, let's say, 20% more points for the next 10 days. And so this randomization effect, which is completely on chain, is going to allow some of the weaker raccoons to actually perform really well, to get ahead of the people that aren't holding pumpkins. And so that's how we're hoping it won't become like a pay to win type of game. There'll be some of these randomization mechanics that help you move up and down the leaderboard.
Okay, so is there going to be anything for people to spend their points on?
Yeah, so the points are synthetic points, virtual points that accumulate over the 2-month battle round. It's actually 50 days, 10 epochs. And so every 5 days, we will snapshot where all the raccoons are, what else is in that wallet, and give you points every 5 days. And these are just virtual points. You'll be able to see how many points you've accrued on our website, and you'll be able to see what your rank is in the leaderboard from 1 to 10,000. And so the points help you jump higher and higher up the leaderboard. And then at the end of the 50 days, we'll say like the top 50 people get this NFT, the next 100 people get this NFT, and break it down based on where you are on the leaderboard. And then we reset the points for the next 2-month round. So the points help you get more rare NFTs.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so yeah, there's many levels to it all then, basically.
There's many
Do
levels.
you also want to touch on the officers as well, or?
Yeah, we can do that. We can touch on the officers, and there's another kind of cool mechanic with the wallets. But what I'll say first is, we're gonna be doing a white paper, and there's basic strategy in there, intermediate strategy, and then advanced strategy. And what I want to say is, basic strategy is just hold a raccoon and do nothing else. So you don't need to be overly concerned about skins and traits and random numbers and combinations and collecting. As long as you hold a raccoon, you're gonna earn. A big thing for us was to have passive earning and not require people to log in or do things every day, like water your plants or harvest some crops or something. So you just need to hold. So we talk about all this complexity and depth in the project, but this is more for people that do want to be more hands-on and do more advanced things. I'll talk about 2 of those mechanics. There's a lot more that we haven't released yet, but one is we're going to be partnering with other projects, and if you hold an NFT from that project in the same wallet as your raccoon, then that raccoon will get a points boost for, let's say, the next 10 days for some small period of time.
Oh, nice.
So we'll actually use the random number generator for that. I'm going to have a list of, let's say, 20 projects. I'll use the random number generator to pick a number from 1 to 20. And let's say it picks the number 14. And let's say that's the Ape Society or Lazy Llamas or one of the other projects we partner with, like Jelly Cubes. Then if you hold one of those NFTs in your wallet, you'll get a slight points boost for the next 10 days. And we'll announce this a few days in advance. And so we're hoping that will encourage the raccoon holders to go out onto the secondary marketplaces and maybe grab one of those other NFTs in order to get this points boost.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I mean, who doesn't love a little extra love like that, right?
Yeah, and it's a way to kind of pay it back to some of the projects that have helped us, like the Ape Society and Llamas and Block is Hot, which we're going to be on their Discord voice chat on Tuesday morning, actually. So we want to pay back these projects that has helped the Raccoon Syndicate and really just help the CNFT space grow and do our part to help everyone get through the bear market. Another mechanic that Kiama mentioned is our officers mechanic. Basically, we have base raccoons, and then we have captains, and then generals. And so when you look at some of our art, you'll see at the top left, there's a silver star or a golden star. The silver star is a captain raccoon. and the captains will have a slightly higher base points multiplier. Now, what you'll notice is the captains and the generals only have one hand trait. They're not holding two items. And that's something I really love. I love naked NFTs. I love the NFTs that don't have too much going on. And so I was really happy we were able to get these kind of cleaner NFTs in the captains and the generals with just one hand trait. But because of that, they're less likely to win from the random number generator, right? Because we have this random number generator that's choosing pumpkins and bats and beets and all these other things. But if you only have one thing in your hand, you're going to get chosen from that less frequently.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a higher base points multiplier, which will be giving you more earnings every 5 days by default out of the box. So those are our captains. There's only 800 captains that we're releasing on Saturday, and only 200 generals. So it's about 2.5%, I think. 200, or actually maybe even less than that. So not a whole lot of generals or captains, but those are our officers that we call them.
Cool. So, do you want to talk about? I mean, sort of like me from a gaming background. I mean, I think you're calling it families. I probably call it classes. But you've got like farmers and sorry, what were the others again?
Yeah, so we have farmers and hunters. Those are the tier 3s that are coming out this weekend. Well, next weekend. And then our tier 2, we have scientists, and then another syndicate that is kind of paired against the scientists. And so you can actually speculate a little bit, just like naturally, farmers and hunters are somewhat contrarian, they're somewhat at odds. You might be able to speculate who might be at odds with scientists and science. And we're about to reveal what that syndicate is. And so that'll be the 4th syndicate. The other 2 we're going to release a little bit later.
So
And
yeah.
I think that the art is a big reflection of how different that they are as well. I mean, the two syndicates, as we're calling them, they're very opposed to each other, so much so that it's been even more so than hunters and farmers, where a lot of the outfits and the wardrobe and the props that I've created for the scientists just don't work for this second tier that we're going to announce. And so we've kind of had to take a little different tact with this tier 2, where we're having to create almost separate wardrobes and separate traits and everything for both of them. There'll definitely be some crossover, but because they are so different, we need to make sure that's reflected in what they're wearing and what they're holding. And which has kind of been a nice challenge for me, because it means that I can really dive into like really separate designs and directions and styles, and so it's been quite good in the art side of things to be able to do that.
Just another quick question that popped into my mind. Are the tier 1, 2, and 3 all going to be on separate policy IDs, or are they on the same policy?
They're all going to be on the same policy ID. But the upgrade NFTs, like things like jewelry and things like that, will be on a different policy ID. So there should be 2 policy IDs.
Cool. So there's 5,000 in the tier 3 that are releasing next week, yeah?
Yep, and then 3,000 of the tier 2 and 2,000 of the tier 1. So there'll only be 2,000 of the tier 1, and that tier 1 is split into 2 syndicates as well. So there'll be only 1,000 of each syndicate.
And they're going to be brand new, unannounced syndicates that we'll hear of in the future, yeah?
Yep, you got it.
Nice. I mean, so I know Kiyama's itching to talk about the art, and quite frankly, I am too. I mean, sort of like I've been flicking through stuff from YouTube, and I mean, I'm looking at the scientist that you, I think, looks like you did the preview a couple of days ago with the wrench and the beaker, looking pretty actually awesome.
Yeah, we released it on the Daily Chronicles show, which is Chronic and Chrissy's show. So shout out to them for having us on and letting us announce that. And we were really excited to announce the scientist. It's probably both of Timmy and I's favorite syndicate that we've released. So yeah, it was great to have that one out in the world, and I'm looking at the next one right now on my computer, and I'm pretty excited to see this one go out in the world as well. They're very different; they have really different looks. Um, but yeah, so the best place to probably check out the art. I mean, it's on our Discord and announcements and in sneak peeks, but it's also on our website. So you can have a look and you can really zoom in there and look at the details and yeah, feel free to flick any questions that you have or anything like that to us in Discord and I'll answer you as quickly as I can.
Yep, I've also just gone ahead 2 seconds ago and released the fourth Syndicate. So go ahead and tell them a little bit about this one, if you can, Kiama.
Yeah, sure. So this one is the clerics. So it's going to be the clerics who are pitted against the scientists. And these ones a little more glamorous, I'd say, than the previous tier that we've had. So, you know, the farmers and hunters are a bit more rugged, a little bit more grunge, and these guys are a little bit more sophisticated, delving into. We actually almost made these our tier one. But then we had a couple of really good ideas that we wanted to store for tier one, so we've kept that as is, and we've kept these in tier two now. And it actually works really well against the scientists because they can be at opposition often, not always, but in this situation we're going to make sure that they are. And so you can see in the cleric's art, he's holding a fire torch in his left hand, and in his right hand, he's holding a staff. But what's important is that what they're holding in this particular pose that's been released, it's a unique pose. So there's for each syndicate, there's a common pose, which is across all syndicates, and then there's a unique pose, and that one is a little bit more rare. And you'll see that for each syndicate. And this one here, he's holding the staff there. And we are going to make sure that that trait itself gets changed up. There's going to be different types of ones, different designs, but they won't be included in the game mechanics necessarily. It's mostly going to be that the trait that they hold in their other hand, the left hand, so that we can keep things fair. And his clothing was a lot of fun to make. I might actually do a little behind the scenes for that for people, but yeah, there's a lot of drapery that happened around that. His glasses were kind of a secondary thought that I showed Timmy the design, the art, and we were both like, oh, he's missing something. There's something else there. It needs to look a little bit more, I don't know, intimidating. So we popped the glasses on him to make him feel a little bit more like he was in the part. And the hat we debated on for a long time as well. I remember we went through maybe 4 or 5 different hat designs before we were like comfortable with that. Because it's not specifically any type of religion or anything like that. It's just a cleric. It's very general. And we want to make sure it kind of stays that way.
Anyone.
No, not at all. This is not a representation of any particular religion. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to say though that those robes look absolutely gorgeous. Like they are sort of like, yeah, I've got it up big on the screen and it looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, there's the clothing was made in a software that I presented before, which is called Marvelous Designer, which is able to simulate real gravity and real cloth simulation. And so each of those draping clothing has a kind of a different weight to it, a different thickness to it, and that's what makes it drape in that certain way. And you can move it around, and things that are added secondary are kind of things like buttons or any hard surface kind of asset that needs to be put on top. And then obviously his hat was modeled in Maya, and yeah, and that fire that is in his fire torch is a kind of like a volumetric within Maya, so it's something that's native to Maya, and it's not an image that's been pasted in there. It's, if you were to look at it in 3D, it'd be made up of a whole lot of little particle dots to be able to simulate that for the render.
And animated too, I think. Like I've seen Kiama's like firework, and when it loads in Maya, like it's actual fire that's moving up, and it's just kind of like snapshotted.
Oh, yeah, wow, that's crazy.
You kind of just choose at what point in time you want to, and so I just kind of let it play until I was like, yes, there. And then that was the frame that we went with.
So how long does it take to render each individual raccoon then? Because obviously, you know, this it's looking like, you know, multiple passes at absolute minimum.
Yeah, well, it is a single pass because it is composited within one scene. So everything gets brought into the scene. So you import the character, you import the clothing, import the traits, import the head traits, the mouth traits, the eye traits. Everything gets imported within the scene, and in there, there's also a lighting rig, a background, kind of a light blocker that provides a little bit more bounce light to the scene, and then it renders everything that's in that one scene as a snapshot, and you get that render, and then it kind of wipes the whole thing, starts again with the next NFT. So everything starts from scratch. So if I were to render this on my computer at what it's coming out at, which is at 2K, it would take minutes and minutes for each NFT, which would leave us
Yeah.
rendering for months probably. Timmy's got a bit of a supercomputer on his hands, so he's taken over the rendering side of things, and he can get them out pretty quickly. It still takes time, but it's worth it, I think.
Yeah, I've got like an NVIDIA 3090, which is kind of a prosumer, kind of top of the line NVIDIA Pro.
Yeah. I'm a bit of
Yep.
a geek in that. Yeah.
Yeah. They were hard to get like a year and a half
Yeah, I
ago, but
mean, usually for people with more money than sense, but I'm pretty sure in your case you can actually use it.
I I needed it for the motion capture, like to do the videos.
Yeah,
All of my
definitely.
videos are in Unreal Engine, and then I use OBS to like actually like capture the scene. But yeah, it's a 3090. But even for me, it takes almost 3 minutes to render each raccoon. There's 5,000 raccoons, so
Yeah,
that's 15,000 minutes. Doing quick math, that's 250 hours. Yeah, which is 10 days. And that's around how long it took us to render all of the raccoons. Is around 10 days to get through the 5,000.
But we've had to do a lot more than 5,000 really, because there's been, I mean, as you do when you want to render the whole scene in 3D, you're going to run into complications where things either intersect or they don't work, or I have to go back and fix them in 3D and then give them back to Timmy. So there's been a lot of back and forth at the start, and we're in a really good groove right now with the renders. So right now we're able to whip them out, but there's always a bit of a kerfuffle at the start where you're trying to make it work, and which is the fun part of it because it makes you realize, oh, I don't know why I thought that hat would be able to not go through that set of glasses or anything like that. Um, and so, yeah, it's been a lot more than maybe that 10 days of rendering. It's probably been a couple of weeks at least because, we've maybe rendered a lot more than 5,000, probably 7 or 8. But yeah, and we've had to delete some and then go back and yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like part of our curation process is I do a pass of rendering them all at just 1K, like 1024 by 1024, which is really, really fast. It's about 20 seconds each. And we'll do a few rounds of that where Kiyama will go in and look for any that don't look right, and do a lot of curation. And some don't look right because the geometry doesn't work, like there's polygons overlapping, but some just don't look right visually or aesthetically, and so we'll take them out of the collection. And so we did a few passes at this 1K by 1K resolution, and then our final renders are 2K by 2K, so 2048. We did consider doing 4K. I think the issue there is if we do 4K, they'll be really, really slow to load on social media and JPG Store and elsewhere. We can attach a thumbnail, but 4K is even quite a bit to do like for IPFS. But there is a world where we might make 4K renders available, perhaps like on our website, if you really want to get like a high res version. But 2K, to be fair, 2K is actually really, really high. I think very few projects are coming out at 2K. So yeah, so we start with a 1K curation round, and then we do the 2K renders.
yeah. I know there's a few projects that do like 4K. I think there's one that came out at 5K a couple of weeks ago. But in general, I think you're in a pretty good place with that. And I mean, the quality of the rendering really shines through at that resolution anyway. And necessarily overdoing it isn't necessarily always the best way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't want to create problems for anyone else who was using it for a profile picture or wanting to upload it on social media, and having 4K, we just couldn't guarantee that it wouldn't be lagging. So we went with the 2K. But like Timmy said, that doesn't make it impossible for us to render them all at 4K. Well, that's definitely something we could do in the future if people were wanting that. But I think 2K is probably much more efficient for people who are using it on the web or even just viewing it on your computer or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, even if you have it as a thing that like, yeah, just request it and we'll do it, then
Hmm.
you're not having to do the entire collection all at once.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, maybe we'll do it that sort of way, where if you want it, put your hand up and we'll we'll render it
Yeah,
out for you, sort of thing.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, again, I'm just like looking at the like the detail of the rendering, and it's just continually blowing me away, to be honest. It's like even though it's cartoony, it looks so real.
Yeah, and I think we almost went for a bit more of a stylized clothing originally, because when we made Timmy, because it was intended the 3D Timmy to be able to go into motion capture and in Unreal and render it live. We kept the clothing a much lower poly, so it's built to the geometry of his body to be able to move with his body for deformation. But when we went with these, we knew that they were going to be still images, at least for this collection, they'd be still images, and that we weren't planning on doing animation at this point, although they are built and set up to do that. So the clothing itself is really high poly to be able to get those wrinkles and to get those folds to look as real as they do. And if we were to ever, do anything with it or put it in a game engine or anything, we would definitely reconsider that and maybe do a low poly version to be able to keep it dynamic and
Yeah.
keep it efficient. I think, yeah.
So there's no animated versions of these at all
Well,
yet.
they are set up to be animated. I did rig a full body raccoon, so he was created as a full body, legs and all. And there's definitely a world where we might do something with that. We have talked about next stages of the project, and that may or may not be in there. But yeah, it is something that we are ready for if we need to, if that's what we decide to the direction that we want to go in, and that our community want us to go in, and maybe that is something that we might do.
Dangerously close to revealing alpha early there, but yeah, they are
Well,
fully rigged.
I'm doing my best to skirt around the edges. I can't
I
not
mean,
ask
take the
the
mic.
obvious questions though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They are fully rigged. We actually did a little bit of work in Unreal Engine. Like we were gonna do some promo material, and we have like maybe a half minute of an animation with all of the syndicates in there, animated around like a table. Um, we, we decided not to release that yet because it would require us announcing all 6 syndicates, and so we'll see if we release that later or not. But yeah, they're fully rigged for animation, and yeah, we're not announcing yet what we'll do with that, but they're set up for it.
So here's a fun question for you. Did he keep any of the bloopers?
The bloopers from the animation or the bloopers from the renders?
The bloopers from the from either or. Like
Um,
obviously never
yeah,
to be released or ever see the light of day, but did
yeah,
was there any that you
definitely.
particularly laughed at, for instance?
I mean, yeah. Look, Timmy will tell you because he's got a 3D character that's working in motion capture, and every now and then he'll have a glitch where the character's arm might go through the head and do impossible
Yeah,
things that make you
yeah.
laugh. And yeah, I definitely had a lot of that with the animation, especially trying to get it into Unreal. Like I animated it in Maya for the promo, and then when we put it into Unreal, there was definitely of them walking through each other, walking through walls, putting their hands through the eyeballs being on the other side of the room. There was definitely a lot of that sort of thing, and it makes you go, "Oh my God, thank God we're doing still renders for the collection." But it's a challenge that we both enjoyed trying to figure it out. And it was a learning curve for both of us to be able to import animation because Timmy obviously does, his mocap is live. And maybe that's something that we could animate using. We could definitely use mocap to be able to animate the characters. But in this situation, I hand animated them. So there was definitely a number of errors, but we got there in the end and we were able to make it work. So, yeah.
I think I think also just in the curation process of the 2D NFTs, like there were some where certain traits were overlapping others. And it's an interesting idea. Like we could maybe dig some of those out and release them as a kind of blooper reel where we have some hats, for example, that get pretty close to the eye line, and there's sometimes some funny combinations with glasses and other eyewear interacting with the hats.
And
There's some more that I
eyelashes.
know. What's that?
All the eyelashes going through all
Yep.
the aviator caps, and yep.
Yep. And there's a bunch that for traits that we haven't announced. There's dozens and dozens of traits on the head, in the hands, and elsewhere that no one has seen. And there's two in particular that caused a lot of issues that might actually make some funny blooper releases maybe afterwards.
Yeah, because when you're creating the hand traits, you're not necessarily checking it against all, I don't know, 20 plus outfits that you might have for that one syndicate. And so it's not really until render that you see all your mistakes come to light. And yeah, you feel a little bit foolish, but it was a learning curve. And yeah, we got there in the end. And so far, the collection and the last render batch that we did of, I think the last one was maybe 2,000 renders. We didn't find a single mistake. So we were pretty happy with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think a
that's
particular
good.
challenge. Or sorry, go ahead, Toolsin. Yep.
No, no, I was just saying, yeah, that's a good place to be.
Mm.
Yeah. I think a particular challenge that Kiyama had was we have these unique poses. And so I talked about the captains and the generals earlier. They have a unique pose where the arm, their right arm, is either outstretched or it's down to the side. You can see with the scientist and the cleric how the right arm is doing something else. And that created a lot of interesting issues where now the clothes was folding differently. The clothes would interact with different traits now where, for the common raccoons, it wasn't a problem. But for these unique poses, we ran into some new issues. And yeah, it's one of the few projects that has unique poses generally, but also unique poses with full arms and hand traits. It creates a lot of like challenges to do any kind of combinations when you have the unique poses. And Kiyama had to redo all the clothes for each of the different poses and hats and other traits.
So we got to the end of the collection where we were like, oh, we've done it, we've made everything that we need, and then we were both like, oh, the unique poses, and then we had to go through every single trait that we'd made and make sure that it did work for that pose, and most of the time it didn't, particularly hats and eyewear and. Because each pose, it is not just a body change, but there is a blend shape on the face, which to give it a different expression. So you'll see the cleric's expression is different to the scientist's expression,
Yeah,
which meant that eyewear and hats did not fit anymore, and we had to either resin them or rebuild them to fit that shape head. So we did that for all head traits. Hand traits were fine. Clothing was an issue again, but again, it's simulation, so we were able to resim it to that pose. And we're going to have these challenges ongoing with the next two tiers, regardless, because each syndicate is going to have its own unique pose, and so that's just part and parcel with what we're planning to do, and we want to offer that, something unique, and we want to offer individual poses for each syndicate. That's something that's important to us and that we want to be able to give away to our community. So in doing that, it does mean additional hard yards in 3D, but it's been very worth it, I think.
yeah, very much so. So how many different individual traits do you have then?
That's a very good question. So we split them up into the left and the right hand. So I want to say somewhere between 10 and 20 for each hand at least, right?
Yeah,
I would
I'm
have.
actually bringing it up right now because I know we added a few more recently, like some of the kind of more novelty ones. Uh, so yeah, but in total, like if you count hands and there's mouth traits, we recently showed a frog in the mouth. There's eyewear, there's head traits, and then there's also eye treatment traits. We've only shown the bloodshot eyes, but we've got eye treatments on the eyeballs, and then we've got eyewear, as I mentioned, head, mouth, hands, and clothes, as well as skin. So altogether, it's maybe above 200 or pushing on 200. And obviously, if you count the combinations, then the numbers
Yeah.
get silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets crazy. But my favorite part is that we haven't actually released our favorite outfits, our favorite clothing yet. We wanted to save all our favorite traits and our favorite clothing for mint, so that people have a little bit more of a surprise, and they're not seeing the same thing when they mint their NFT.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my favorite ones are not out world yet. They're still hidden away in Timmy's computer.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there'll definitely be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to everyone posting what they end up with on the 13th and the 14th.
And one thing is like that 200 number, it actually might be more, maybe a little less, but that's just for the farmers and the hunters.
Yeah.
The scientists and the clerics and the tier one, they have new clothes, new hats, new hand traits. And so when the whole collection is done, it's going to be much more than, what we release on Saturday.
Yeah, and I think because these next two syndicates are so different, the clerics and the scientists, I think we're probably going to end up with a similar number again, even though there is a lower supply of these ones are a little bit more rare. I think there's 3,000 of them combined compared to the 5,000. I think we're probably going to end up needing a similar amount of traits, I think, for these. So I'm definitely in the depth of tier 2 at the moment in 3D. I've got it all up on my screen at the moment working. But I think that we're going to have plenty of diversity in this tier in particular.
So, have you embraced some of the more popular traits across different collections, like Rainbow or God forbid Laser Eyes? I can't quite see how they would work here, but or Wings or anything like that.
Yeah, we have actually some of those. I'm not going to say which, but they are in there.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna, he's done it again. But I'm not gonna say what it is, but there are a couple of. I mean, Timmy and I did want to keep it within that kind of Peaky Blinders era, that kind of Victorian look. But there were some things that were just too fun, and we just couldn't say no to. And so we did put them into the collection, and they are the ones that you're going to see on mint day.
Awesome. I say, if I see a whole wall of Laser Eyes coming at me now, I honestly, I'll absolutely love it. Honestly, but because I mean, your talent has really shined through all the previews that I've seen and everything like that. It's incredible, and I'm sure that whatever special traits, no matter how crazy they might sound, are going to look amazing.
Yeah, I've been very lucky to be able to work on this project because it's been something that we created together from scratch, and it's been in our own style and the look that we wanted, and that's really rare in what I do, because often for a studio or for clients I work for, it's them telling me what they're after, and I'm just recreating that. And so being able to create our own project has kind of allowed a higher level of creativity. It's been able to really embrace my OCD and my inner just passion for 3D, and it's been something that I really love doing, and I feel very lucky that I teamed up with Timmy to be able to do something this cool.
Where's the heart emoji on here? I'm so used to Twitter Spaces. How do
Right click.
Oh, is it really emojis in here?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Where am I right clicking?
I mean,
Well,
I don't think you're only able to do GIFs and stuff if you're level 2.
okay, interesting. Okay, cool.
But yeah, we do that just because we'd have an inordinate amount of spammers otherwise.
Got it.
So yeah, moving on slightly. So what happens after Mint Day?
Yes, well, after this first mint day, there's a couple like promotional things we're gonna do to reward like the people that minted early. And so I see a few jelly cubes down there. There's something I've been talking to Jason about, the founder of Block is Hot, and taking some inspiration from something he did. So there'll be some events and contests happening mostly on Sunday, the 14th, once the public mint is done. And then we're going to be, doing two things. First, getting ready for the tier 2 mint, which is at the end of September. That one isn't going to have as many things like Discord collabs or anything like that, because 1,600 of the 3,000 supply could potentially get reserved by people that have 3 raccoons from tier 3. So it's 3,000 supply, but almost 2,000 of that is potentially reserved for these whitelisters that have 3 of the farmers and hunters. So there's only about like maybe 1,500 supply left available. And so we're not going to be able to do a ton of collabs. Instead, we're going to be focused on, writing the white paper. We want to release at least a version of the white paper before tier 2, and then finish the white paper before tier 3. So the team will be working on that, but then we'll be doing a bunch of contests and building out the lore. In fact, the community is so creative. This is something somewhat inspired by the Ape Society, which has one of the best communities in CNFT, if not the best, and all kinds of side projects. And actually, Cardano Shield down there in the audience has been looping me into all these cool spin-offs of the Ape Society. Like there's a chess club and a board game and the Dorks and all kinds of stuff. We're gonna try and do similar things, but maybe a little bit more aligned with the Raccoons. One thing we want to do is name the Raccoon world and work on some of the lore. So we'll probably be running a contest for that with the community, and certainly there'll be whitelists for tier 2 given out alongside that. So between mint and the end of September, when tier 2 mints, it'll be lore building, community building, and then internally getting ready to release the white paper, like kind of version 1 of a white paper.
Nice. So, how much of the lore do you have like a basis for in your mind already, and how much is left to be fleshed out by in the future, either by yourself or by the community as well?
I would say a lot is left to be done by the community, actually. We deliberately wanted to, have a Web3 kind of decentralized approach and bring in the community on our lore building. We've actually been so blessed already in this way. We've done a few lore contests in July and June. A couple things. We actually asked the community to generate a bunch of trait ideas for things for the raccoons to hold and headwear for them to wear. And we actually selected quite a few from the community that are now in the collection. And then we also asked them to guess what the next syndicate names would be. And in fact, one person guessed the scientist and another person guessed the cleric. And so they're going to be rewarded with Whitelist. And so we have already a very creative community. The other contest we did was we released this kind of fly-looking raccoon with a Hawaiian shirt and some aviator glasses, and that was our stone skin. And we asked people to write a backstory around that individual raccoon. It's the Hawaiian backstory contest. And the community really showed up. Tons of creativity, tons of comedy. It was really, really awesome to read through those. And so that's kind of the type of stuff we want to continue to build on in a bigger way after this first mint.
Yeah, I mean that yeah, a lot for the community to get their teeth into, for sure.
Yeah, because after this first mint, it becomes their project, right? Right now, all the NFTs are on our computers, but pretty soon they'll be in the blockchain, they'll be in the world, and they'll be on, all the computers and wallets of the community. And so it's really interesting. Like once the NFTs are in the wallets of everyone, whose project is it really, right? It's really their project. They own it since they have all the raccoons, right? And so we definitely want to bring them in on all of this. And
I feel like right now we're like the parents who know the children the best. That the minute that they're out there, they're going to meet other people, and they're going to have their own lives. And so I feel like we've already taken so much inspiration from the community that it just makes like a natural step to be able to allow them to have a lot of control over the project and influence which way it goes, but influence the story and the backstory behind it.
So, I mean, the next obvious question from that is, are you giving holders complete copyright, or are you reserving your rights to make money from them, as it were?
Yeah, so this is a very important question around IP rights with CNFTs, which is a really, really important topic. So there's like the base C model where you're able to use your raccoon for, to make a hamburger shop or to put it on your clothing and things like that. And our intention is, they would have all the rights to do that. But then there's CC0, which lets you do a little bit more like with the actual art, where you would need like the 3D files, like the Maya files. But we're not going to be like making the Maya files or like the actual 3D asset available. But the 2D NFT, if someone wants to make a T-shirt or something like that, then they would have the rights to that.
So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people will be thinking, well, one T-shirt's usually going to be fine anyway. What if I want to make 10,000?
Yep, I think it's a question of that, like we want to add in the white paper before we release it now. One thing is some of the projects that have done that before have run into issues. Like we're just seeing with Space Buds right now, huge like copyright issue. Obviously, all of our art is like original, like Kiyama has created it,
Yeah,
but we want to be careful that if we're giving those IP rights, like it's not just a message in Discord. If we're gonna give like the full IP rights, it should be something written. The NFT holder deserves to have paperwork kind of certifying that. And so it's a bigger project to do it correctly versus just saying, okay, you guys have all the rights. But yeah, it's something we're definitely looking at.
yeah. I mean, especially where obviously there's going to be a thriving secondary market for these. So it quickly becomes impractical to send out physical paperwork every time something's bought and sold. Um,
Yeah. Yep. So we
but
we probably use
if somebody's looking to make a business out of it, then I'm sure they're capable of sending a DM for the paperwork they need.
exactly do something on DocuSign or something like that
Yeah,
electronically. But yeah, well, we want to use uh, proper real names and make sure that they have everything that they need to do that correctly. Um, yeah.
yeah. So are you guys docs then?
So we're docs in the sense that everyone has met and seen Kiyama. She's been on video and everything, and I'm still an avatar because Timmy is my identity. Timmy's my brand. I'll always just be Timmy. So we're docs in the sense that people in the community know who we are. We've built up this reputation, and people have seen Kiyama, but we're not docs with our real names yet. And
Hmm.
so
We're docs to
we're,
each other.
we're
We've
docs with
Yeah,
each other.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
yeah,
we have worked with each other, so we do know. I can clarify he is a real human slash cat, um, and he can
And
do the same for me.
yeah, and there's maybe 10 or 12 people now actually in Cardano that know like who is behind Timmy, like who I am. I'm a Genius Yield ambassador for the Genius Yield Dex, and so we have paperwork with real names and everything. And a lot of the projects that I've partnered with, we've done paperwork, and so there's maybe even more than a dozen people that who know who I am, but I'm trying not to like use my real face, my this ugly mug because I think it would hurt the brand. It's like seeing who's behind Homer Simpson or Mickey Mouse or something like that. And so yeah, Timmy's just going to be Timmy. We have a lot of fun with him. Super PG, kind of family oriented character, and I'm going to continue to lean into that.
I think Timmy actually had to dox himself before I believed he was a real person. I think when he first contacted me, when we tried to work on Timmy the cat, because I was very skeptical with this person who came in as Timmy, like no surname, or like he was Cher or something like that. And then I wasn't quite big in Cardano yet, so I wasn't familiar with the crypto as much as I am now, particularly with NFTs. And so I was kind of very sus on him at the start. And so he ended up having to let me know that he was a real person with a real career and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, but there is a side to doxing that, well, we both have families
yeah,
and businesses that we work for in our private lives that we want to keep, private and separate to something that we're creating here, as I think everybody does.
yeah. I mean, as somebody that's not docs myself, I totally get that. There's there's a safety element for the person being doxxed. It doesn't matter what happens, especially when we're talking to communities of many thousands of people. And obviously there's privacy and stuff as well. But also I don't necessarily think that the public gain a huge amount by having the founders of a project doxed. Yes, it's a security blanket, but if a project ran off that's doxed, well, okay, I know their name. I might even know where they live. But what
Yeah,
am I
and
going
I
to do? I'm not
think
going
to
to
me,
turn up there or anything like that. You know what?
yeah, I think we've both talked to each other about that as well, about how important it is to be able to trust the people that you're investing in, and not just us trusting each other, but for our community being able to trust us to continue on with the project and build on it and make sure it becomes more of a success than it even is at Mint. And yeah, it was that was part of the reason I did want to show my face is that I am a real 3D artist and I do work in the animation world and yeah, I mean everything except my name has kind of already been out there and I think the same for Timmy. And so, I mean, I'm not sure our name will make a huge difference at this point. But it is something that we've joked around and said, if you ever tried to rug pull, I'll totally out you.
Yeah, we'll out
Uh,
each other. We're keeping
yeah,
our
we've
close
agreed on that.
contact.
Yeah,
And
if one try to
yeah,
rug pull, then we out them.
I think there's a couple other things I can say to that. Like we have seen some projects docs and I actually know of a few projects that have put their faces on their website and their LinkedIn profiles, and it turns out it's not their real face, name, or LinkedIn profile. And so, when
Yeah.
someone doxes by putting that stuff on their website, you don't know if they're telling the truth or not. In fact, you could argue potentially like they're doing that in order to take a different identity and to kind of gain some clout or reputation that way. So that's that point. But for me, it's more about like the artistic direction and what Web3 is all about. The metaverse where you can be who you want to be. It doesn't matter, what skin color you are, what gender you are. You can go in and be, a pink unicorn or a blue ogre or whatever in the metaverse. And I think this is what we want, where we can really be what we want to be, and maybe day to day we can be something different through our avatars. I think this is the future of the metaverse. This is Ready Player One, Snow Crash. This is what a lot of us are looking to get into. And so I actually want to see the community, lean a little bit away from this, like, okay, I need to know what your face looks like, what color, what gender, what age you are, in order for me to invest in you. And so that's that piece. And then the third point is I actually was very intentional when creating my YouTube channel not to use like my real face, just because like I created the channel just to learn a little bit of art, to learn how to do 2D animation. I'm an engineer, and most of my engineering friends are terrible at art and like anything like in Photoshop. And so I really wanted to challenge myself. And so I said, okay, I'm going to figure out how to use Adobe Character Studio and how to do 2D cartoon animations on the fly with my phone as the camera driving it. And then I wanted to figure out how to do motion capture in real time. But if I had taken a different direction where I was doxxed and I was just another YouTuber with my face, like there's a lot of people like that, and I'm not, I don't know if my intuition or my knowledge is so much better than them. So my novelty, I guess, my gimmick that has really helped the channel, I believe, is the Timmy avatar. And so it was a very intentional decision, and I'm really glad with how it turned out.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've done incredibly, to be honest. And yeah, I certainly agree with a lot of what you said there. Oh, sorry
Yeah.
about that. So, what kind of activities do your community get up to, aside from the things that are like directly related to the project? Like, do you have like, weekly activities and party nights and games nights and things like that?
Do you want to take this one, Kiama? Or?
Yeah. So our moderators have been running quite a few competitions. They've been doing Smash Carts, which has been wildly popular. I am terrible at it. But Timmy has done, you've done quite well. And my partner often jumps in as well and is quite good at it. I've not been able to succeed at the hand-eye coordination, which is, probably the reason that I sit at a computer for 10 hours a day. And we've also been running quite a few rumbles, and they're a lot of fun, actually. I love seeing all the different ways that people get killed. As much as I hate watching gore on TV, I love hearing that someone's just had their head chopped off or been stabbed with 1,000 daggers. It's always very rewarding. I know that sounds
Yes.
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
love creative ways of killing people.
Yes, it's really fun. They come up with the craziest ways of killing people as well. So it's just things I haven't really thought of. And so we've been running quite a few of those sort of competitions. We've been doing Gif Wars. there's been quite a few creative ones, as well as all the kind of competitions that we've run for people to guess traits and guess syndicates and contribute to the collection itself.
Yeah, and even a couple new games. Like I think that Gif Wars or Gif Wars. Kiama, did you just say Gif Wars?
Yeah, we say GIF. We say
No,
Yes,
GIF.
no, it's
yes.
definitely GIF. It's
No,
definitely
no,
GIF.
it's a G, so it's
It's
GIF.
it's very definitely a hard G, and yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
I've excommunicated people for less.
Okay, well, we have GIF Wars, which is actually, I think it's a game that I think Professor Z. I think our community lead, Professor Z, might have invented that game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the first time I ever saw it was when they pitched it to me, and so basically they give a prompt, which is like how you feel when you get whitelist, and then you have 40 seconds to like find a really funny GIF about that prompt, and then we choose a winner. It's been a really really fun game. I love GIFs. And then we've also been playing some guessing game. This is another game that Brew, who is our moderator down there as well, created, and it's just a number guessing game. But what I like about this is it's very inclusive, very accessible. You don't need to know like language. We considered like doing Garctic, which is like the picture drawing game.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time that requires you to know Western pop culture and idioms and things like that. And so we actually have so far have held off on that. But the guessing game is just choose a number. We don't do it a ton, but we have fun with that. And then of course poker. We've leaned a little bit away from poker recently, but earlier, like in June, we joined a couple multi-project poker collabs. I'm not sure like how much of poker we'll do in the future. It's always fun though. I'm a big poker fan, but we'll see. There was a period there where CNFTs were almost like, you know, a little bit too much into poker. I'd love if we find like a better balance. But you might see a couple poker games on the weekend in our space.
Well, you'll have to hit us up because we're starting poker tournaments. We got a little poker bot
Wow.
buy-in thing and everything like that. So I'm sure we can come up with some fun events with both communities.
Oh wow, that sounds really cool. Like we don't have any kind of a poker bot. I actually might follow up with you on that, ToolSin. We were just using Poker Now and just sending people there, but it sounds like you guys are taking it a step further. That's really cool.
I say, well, it's not been released yet. We had our first test, this week actually. But yeah, it basically it just takes buy-ins from everybody. You then get your own, you make your own tournament on Poker Now, and then you can use the bot to pay out the winners in like relay. Well, at the minute we're only set up for ADA, but we are in the future hoping to make it possible to buy in with various different coins and tokens from different projects as well. So
Wow,
you'd be able
that's
to have
brilliant.
you'd be able to buy in with like Raccoon points, for instance.
Very cool. That sounds really, really interesting. Yeah, definitely gonna keep my eye out for that.
But yeah, so can we assume that you'll be listing on CNFT tools for rarity and stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely, ToolSin. We're already signed up. We've already sent our metadata to the CNFT Tools team. So that's well on its way. That you guys have our 721 policy ID and everything. So yeah, so big
Nice.
thanks to you guys. You know, I created a ticket for that maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, and within like 24 hours of sending you our metadata, you know, it sounds like it was mostly set up. I got acknowledgement. So really good customer service from the CNFT Tools listing service. Yep.
Yeah, we do try. Will you be using our bots for verification and stuff like that as well?
So far, I've been creating the bots. I'll probably continue to do that just because I love building, I love coding. So we're gonna have our own bots for like NFT verification and roles and stuff like that. Right now, we actually have like a whitelist verification bot, a wallet registration bot, and then you can actually go in and type like /checknum raccoons and see like how many raccoons you've been whitelisted for. And so I want to do some pretty cool things, some pretty cool Discord integrations, and yeah, I just love coding. So we'll take a look, but for now, for the NFT verification, I think we'll probably do that in house.
Cool. So a question I meant to ask earlier, and it slipped my mind, was sort of like you've got your own minting engine and everything. Is that going to be done in a multi-sig fashion, or is that going to be like the send ADA method?
Yeah, it's going to be the send ADA method. There's a couple reasons for that. One is I'm a big Ledger and Daedalus user. Like I basically just use Daedalus and not so much like on the web-based wallets like Nami and Eternal. I'll send some ADA there just to do a transaction on the marketplace. But for me, it was important from the beginning to support Daedalus, to make it easy for Ledger users who are already connected in Daedalus. So it's going to be an address mint. So that has maximum inclusivity. Everyone can send ADA to an address. But then the other thing is we've decided to release about 97% of the supply to the whitelist. And so people are only going to be sending ADA for the raccoons that they have reserved. And we think that'll limit, what we've seen in the past where you get a whole bunch of transactions sent to an address that have to get refunded. Since everything's kind of reserved and accounted for on the ledger one-to-one, like how many raccoons, how much ADA you should send, we think that issue with address minting is mostly mitigated. So yeah, it's going to be a straight-up address mint.
Nice. And that's going to be displayed in Discord or on your website?
It's going to be displayed in Discord for the roles that have access to it, and our chat will be shut down. A few people have asked us about that, but yeah, public chat will be shut down. Basically, only one or two of us will have access. Just Kiama and I will have access to send messages, shortly before and during mint. And yeah, so that'll all be available in Discord.
Nice. So yeah, and obviously, for anyone listening in, don't click any random links that are DM to you. There's no secret mint. There's no super special invite or verifying your wallet or anything like that.
Really, really important shout out. In fact, I would encourage everyone to go right-click our server icon and just disable DMs from our server. Maybe like on like the day of mint or like even before you can do that on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm still DMing a couple people who win a couple. We actually have a CNFT tools contest going, and so that's open for a little bit while. But I actually have a habit of disabling DMs from servers, and you can actually disable DMs from our server. You won't miss anything important if you do that. All the information you're going to need is going to be in our announcements channel. So go ahead and disable DMs, ignore DMs. You're not going to need to read any DMs in order to mint. Yeah, super, super important.
Yeah. I mean, safety is paramount, and if we can save one person from losing their wallet, then it's a good shout.
Yeah, it's been really bad lately. One thing is, we're also all of the moderators, Kiam and I, it's all 2FA. If you haven't done that, turn on two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication on your Discord. Obviously we've seen some Discords where the admins have had their accounts hacked and the announcements channel has been taken over. And so, yeah, we're definitely trying to do everything the correct way to avoid those issues.
Yeah, I mean, just as a general rule for people that I'm trying to give a bit of airtime to recently, it's good policy to just never click a link that you receive on Discord. And that goes from whether it's a stranger that's just DM'd you randomly or whether it's from somebody that you feel that you know well. If it's a link you want to see, you can Google it separately. There's so many, hidden characters and Unicode stuff that hides where you're clicking to, that it's just not worth the risk.
100%. I couldn't agree more. Don't click on links. If you can just Google, and it should come at the top of the list. And so that's another reason why we won't be linking anyone to the website for Mint. You'll just get the address in our Discord. And this is another reason why, NAMI is a beautiful program. Eternal is great, wonderful team. But I'm still just comfortable in Daedalus. I've heard of NAMI wallet leaks and other attacks with NAMI, and it's important. I'd like to see more people running Daedalus. I know it's really expensive to run a full node, you need a lot of disk space, but new functionality comes out on Daedalus first. You can do stake pool delegation on Daedalus. Plus you can do voting, and this is really important. The next The next era of Cardano is Voltaire, which is moving the Cardano protocol to all of us, the people that own Cardano, and we're going to be able to vote on changes to Cardano, changes to the transaction fees, changes to all kinds of stuff with the network. But you can vote for that right now only in Daedalus. So that's my shout out for Daedalus, but I understand you need a pretty beefy computer to use it. Mostly only developers, I think, are using it. But yeah, if you think you can manage it, give a look at Daedalus.
Yeah, I mean, I run it, but well, I say I've not updated it in a while, and that's probably its biggest issue is the fact that it's only useful for as long as it's turned on. Just simply, the updating every single, if you turn your computer off for any reason or shut the program down, it can take a long time to resync, and most, the general population don't have that time, and again, 50% of the user base are on mobile only.
Yeah, it's a great point, ToolSin. Let's see. I'm excited for Lace. This is, IOG's official light wallet. And I think, Lace should hopefully be a trusted wallet that will have the bleeding edge functionality, like the newest stuff, the way Daedalus does. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Lace. But also all respect and shout out to Nami. I have a few Nami wallets, and Alessandro's a genius, huge fan, as well as Eternal. But yeah, I just want to use first party products and wallets. First party meaning created by IOG. So yeah, I'm looking forward to their new wallet coming out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll certainly check it out myself. There's advantages and disadvantages with every wallet, and it's important to check out what's available because that's the way you don't miss out.
You got it.
But yeah, I did see a couple of questions popping up in chat earlier. If anyone else has any questions for the team before we start looking at rounding things up, feel free to fire them into NFT chat now, and I'll make sure they get answered. The main question we had asked earlier was whether you can combine the consumable NFTs, i.e., if he gets like eggs and flowers in the first battle rounds, can he combine those two to make bread and get a combined multiplier?
Yeah, you can actually, and this is actually a really important point. There's two ways we've announced so far around how we're going to control supply, and there's actually five ways that we're going to be doing, but three of them we're going to announce later. But the first two, so there's this understandable concern around, well, if you're going to give 10,000 free NFTs every 2 months, like you're going to have a huge policy, you're going to have tons of assets against this policy ID. How are you going to manage supply? Well, the mechanic that you just described of forging, basically combining two of the NFTs together to get a more powerful one, is one mechanic that we're going to use. So you could imagine having a ruby and a sapphire ring, which each give you like a 10% bonus in terms of your points multiplier. Well, if you come to the website, you'll be able to forge those together into maybe a diamond ring. And that will give you, instead of 10 plus 10, you'll get maybe 25% bonus points. So you're incentivized to forge those two rings together. It also opens up another finger for another ring. And we'll let you combine 2 rings to make 1, 3 rings to make 1, potentially combining rings to make bracelets or pendants or necklaces, and this kind of tiered system. So the supply is constantly going to be forged and combined together, and you'll be incentivized to do so. The other even more important thing to know is these 10,000 NFTs that you're getting every 2 months. The way it's going to work is you're going to log into the website. Well, you're going to basically show that it's your wallet, and you're going to see there that, okay, you have a ruby ring that you won in the most recent battle round, and it's not going to be an NFT yet at that point. You're going to be able to decide to attach that ruby or diamond ring to your raccoon. If you do that, we're just going to render a new raccoon with the diamond ring and update the raccoon's metadata on chain. but we're not going to issue a ring NFT because we've actually already attached it to your Raccoon.
Yeah.
And so I actually think a large percentage, probably more than half of these upgrade NFTs will never actually get added to the secondary marketplace. They're just going to get attached to the Raccoon at the time. Another category of NFTs are these consumable NFTs. So we have attachable ones like jewelry, but also consumable NFTs like a loaf of bread or a power-up juice. These consumable NFTs don't get attached to your Raccoon, but you can at any time choose to eat that loaf of bread or drink that juice, and you'll get a temporary, 10% boost of points for the next 10 days. And so these are ephemeral, kind of non-permanent upgrade NFTs that you'll get. If you decide you want to sell it, if you rather would just have ADA, at any time you can have the NFT written to the blockchain, and then you can list it on JPG Store. But by default, they'll be on our platform, and you'll be able to elect whether to just keep them there in your inventory, attach them to your Raccoon, drink or eat them, or if you want, write them to the blockchain to sell or trade them.
Nice. And so when people buy them from the blockchain, they'll be able to then re-import them into their account on the website and use it as the person who originally minted would be able to.
Absolutely, yep. It'll be in your wallet. You'll attach the wallet there, and you'll be able to just use it with whichever Raccoon you want to use it with.
Very nice. So a popular question that's come up is, can everybody in the voice chat get Whitelist?
I wish. I wish. I think if we were doing this 3 weeks ago, it might have been yes, but with 52, yeah, we're like 98% full right now. So it's a little bit late for that. But yeah,
Well,
we wanted to do something, and so we wanted to save the Cleric Syndicate reveal for this voice chat.
I say, well, I believe that the whitelist giveaway that cnfd.tools has going is still going, so you've still got a chance to get your whitelist spot through that.
Where can I go for that, ToolSin, if you don't mind?
You need to be, give me 1 second, you need to be a toolhead to see it. So let me just come back to the thing and I'll make you a toolhead quickly. Oh, no, you are a toolhead already.
Question for you then, ToolSin. Can everyone in voice chat become a toolhead?
Oh, absolutely. It's actually very, very easy. I believe everyone here should be a toolhead already. But if not, all you have to do is go to the Add a Wallet channel. And then just press the buttons, follow the instructions, and it'll happen within sort of like, assuming the chain's fairly quiet at the minute, it'll happen within a couple of minutes. And
Amazing.
with that, you get not only all the verification with every single project that uses our verification, but you also get lots of extra utility on the website. Sort of like, the wallet filter, and then obviously the wallet values, which is still fairly beta and everything like that, but can give you a good indication of what your NFTs might be worth.
And would that be equivalent to like going to the website first and connecting your Discord that way?
No,
Or is that a different system?
Yeah, well, you need to add a wallet on Discord, but we use the Discord login on the website, and that's how we connect everything up.
Perfect, right. So you add the wallet on the Discord and then you link on the website. Yep.
Yeah. Another not as well known feature actually is if you go to the cnfd.tools calendar on the website and you add a project to your favorites list, you can then use the command /toolhead in the tools channels, and it will give you a little printout of your wallet value, but also of every drop that you've favorited coming up.
Oh wow. Wow, that's very cool.
So yeah, that one's not as well known, but yeah, if you're a pro, that's what pros are doing.
Amazing.
But yeah, another thing that I'd like to add, which will make people very happy, is that when we do rankings on tools, one of the things that we're able to do is that when NFTs change their metadata down the line, the rankings will change as well. So you'll always have an accurate depiction of the rarity that you're going to be getting and stuff like that, and everything will update as the consumables are added to NFTs.
I love that. That's brilliant. And that's actually an important part to mention. Like, our NFTs have a trait called the base points multiplier. And that trait, that value, it's like from 1.0, 1.1, 1.2. It won't go up much beyond like 3.0 at the beginning, or even 2.0 after mint. But that number is really how you're going to want to sort our collection. Like, the most, well, not exclusively, but if some of the most valuable NFTs, some of the most valuable raccoons will be the ones with the highest base point multiplier, if you're utility focused. So we won't have a rank trait built in as metadata, but this base points multiplier is kind of like the power of that raccoon. And that number will change. And so the policy ID will be open, which is necessary anyway since we have a 3-part mint, but the policy ID will stay open so that we can update your base points multiplier. And the nice thing about that is if you win or purchase some diamond rings and ruby rings and other things to upgrade your NFT, we're actually going to let you write a new base point multiplier to the blockchain, which will show up on cnft.tools, it sounds like, which will allow you to ask more if you end up selling that raccoon in the future.
Yeah, I mean, generally, sort of like with the continuous changes and stuff like that, it's usually sort of like every 15, 20 minutes or so. It'll be sort of like between the change taking place on the blockchain and us picking it up and updating things. Images might take a little bit longer actually, but that's stuff for the wizards to get involved in. That's above my pay grade. But that's broadly how it'll work on our end anyway.
Yeah, that's great.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
you guys are definitely leading the way here. You guys have an amazing development team. Like, yeah, it's really cool what you guys are doing. And I think all of the CNFT projects are grateful. A lot of us are going to CNFT tools as our marketplace. Like, when I shop, I shop on CNFT tools, and some of these other marketplaces like JPG Store, they've just become the payment processor. Like, I'll just go there to actually send the ADA to the seller. But a lot of the research and the shopping, the browsing, the discovery is happening on CNFT tools, which is, a testament to the amazing work you guys have done.
thanks. Yeah, I mean, I can't take credit for any of the technical side or anything like that, but the guys really are wizards, and sort of like the guy that does a lot of the work for the listings, Miko, absolutely amazing. Like, I do a lot of hours, and those guys put me in the shade. Like, it's quite unbelievable. It's like Legion of Brad will tell me that he's going to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll see him pop up in another Discord server 90 minutes later, and then he says good morning at 7 in the morning. I don't
Yeah,
get how he does it every single day.
that's Timmy. He's been doing that, doing crazy hours. I mean, I think he chatted me last night, and it was probably about maybe 6 o'clock my time, and I just can't imagine what kind of hour in the morning that was for you, Timmy. But yeah, he's doing the same sort of hours at the moment, so I'm sure he can relate.
The problem is I'm so pumped. The community is so pumped. Our chat channel is super active. I just can't sleep even if I wanted to. And so I'm just in the chat and just playing Smash Cards. And like, a couple weeks ago, I would try to sleep at like 1 a.m. or whatever, and I'd just be rolling around for 2 hours, and like it's 3 a.m. and I haven't done nothing. So yeah, I just can't sleep right now. There's too much adrenaline, and we're all so excited.
Yeah, I mean, it does bring up another good point, which sort of like is often overlooked. But have you got any plans to sort of like cut back after the mint a little bit? Because obviously, everything's hell for leather, everything's hell for leather, everything's hell for leather, and there's always the next thing to be hell for leather. and sort of like, looking after yourself a little bit and making sure you actually take a little bit of time off and, spend time with the family and, basically do the things that you need to do not to burn out in 6 months' time, for instance.
Such an important point, like, and especially for us, like, because we have 3 mints, so we're minting from August to October in a way. So it's one ramp up after another. Um, we are, as I mentioned, we're probably going to run a contest on like the day of the public mint, maybe 1 or 2 days after. But then we'll take 4 or 5 days, just to catch our breath. But then, yeah, we will get ready for tier two. I think the bigger breath catching and kind of rest can maybe come after the tier one mint at the end of October. And then maybe we'll take a week or something like that. But yeah, finding balance, mental health, super, super important.
Yeah, because I mean, it's something, especially as we're all working from home, we can often end up being quite isolated, though we don't realize it at the time. Because we absolutely love our communities and we'll do anything for them, but humans are a social species and we need to spend time in person with other people.
Yeah, I think I've been working from home for about maybe 4 years now, so a little bit before COVID. And yeah, I could definitely speak to that. It's always really nice to get back into, a studio or an office or wherever it might be that you have that kind of social element to your work as well, not just, the daily grind. And I think that Timmy will definitely be needing a nice strong rest straight after we've done the mints. And I'm taking a little bit of time at Christmas to be with my family as well, and then I'll be back into the 3D side of things because we'll be starting the kind of the game side of things early next year, and that's going to require a number of 3D assets. So I think from January again, it'll be back into it. So I'm kind of looking forward to that actually because it'll be a different side of what we're doing.
But yeah, just having a quick look at an FT chat for any more questions. Yeah, so plenty of people saying that they need more ADA for secondary. Because yeah,
Don't
I
we
mean
all?
it's going to be fun trying to get all the ones that you need to be able to get the level twos and the level ones. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
and it is going to be random. So yeah, we won't be saving any of the best ones for ourselves or anything like that. It'll all be random.
Yeah,
Yep,
that
totally
that that
random.
that, that was something that didn't even quite cross my mind to ask you on that one. Actually, I'm sure you'd be quite happy to hear.
Yep. Yeah, totally random. We talked about like the 621 mechanic, but some people are also going to want not just six raccoons, but they might want one of them to be an officer, like a captain. Some people want to have a captain, a general, and a non one. But we also have the skins. And so, we'll probably get into this is more intermediate strategy now that we'll release in the white paper later. But we'll have certain combinations where if you do manage to get one of each of the 10 skins, the base one and then the 9 special skins in the same wallet, then there'll be a bonus points earning given for that. And that's just one example of like the different kind of combinations that people might want to collect in order to get higher point multiples.
Yeah, I mean that sounds awesome. I'm sure there's going to be a suitably special role for it in Discord and everything like that. Will those guys get any extra input into the project as well? Perhaps over and above somebody that only has like one or two.
Yeah, it's definitely come to mind, and we can almost borrow a page from the Ape Society here, like what they've done with their kings and some of their families of like the most rare apes, having like almost like a special alpha channel or a special connection, to the team. One thing I think we're going to stay away from is releasing any project alpha to people that have the most expensive raccoons. Just I don't know if I like if that's very inclusive. It is kind of pay to win, so I'm not sure we'll give like alpha on what we're about to release to like the highest holders. Some projects will like release an announcement in a special channel 1 hour before they release it to the public. And I don't know if that's the right thing, but there's a lot of other things I want to do we both want to do to people that own some of the rarer raccoons, or what we would call whales, things like that. But we'll see. Something on my mind is, we do want to reward whales and people that support the project by buying 10 or 20 raccoons. But I also would rather have as many people owning a raccoon as possible, right? As many account holders as possible, and just bring in more people to the project. And so we're going to be very thoughtful about what kind of behavior and collecting we incentivize with rewards. So we're not ready to announce anything yet, but I think we're gonna do something pretty different here.
Yeah, sorry, I just realised that the raccoon giveaway, our raccoon whitelist giveaway has already ended. So there's a couple of people that are a little upset with me, I think. So I do apologise to those guys.
Uh-oh.
Like we constantly have giveaways rotating through, so occasionally I make a mistake.
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll be doing some giveaways for tier 2 as well, like later in August. So there'll be tons of ways to get into the project, even if you're not able to get in, with Whitelist on Saturday or on secondary. There'll be ways to get into the project at an affordable price. The tier 2 is not going to be a crazy number. It'll be a small percentage above tier 3 price. But yeah, there'll be ways for people to get in through contests and games all throughout August, September, and October.
Nice. So yeah, make sure you join the Discord server and take part in the community, and first and foremost, have fun, and then maybe score yourself a whitelist at the same time.
Absolutely. We also have a suggestions channel, and I check it all the time. Kiyama checks it all the time. We're eager for suggestions around traits for the upcoming raccoons. We still have half of the collection that doesn't have hand traits, head traits, clothing. So we would like to encourage everyone to jump into the suggestions channel and give us your ideas for traits. But also, are there other games that the community has seen on other Discord servers that you'd like us to consider adding? I was talking to someone this morning about Idle RPG. I think Dusty, actually, we were talking about that. I'm not sure if you're still down there, but there's a few other games we don't have yet. If there's something you love, just drop it into the suggestions channel, and we'll see about getting it installed.
Well, funnily enough, you're actually I believe you're the second longest AMA that I've ever had so far since I started doing this.
Okay, well, hold on then. Who was first, and how long do we have to go to be first?
Right, let me double check this. I'm 100% certain that the Ape Society was the longest. And I believe that
we might want to let them have that. They're friends of ours.
I believe that was 3 minutes short of 2 hours. And we've been going an hour and 3/4 so far.
We should wrap up soon then, because being second to Ape Society would be amazing.
I am just double checking though. You see, there's one that's an hour and a half, hour and 14. I've got quite a few to scroll through here, actually.
That's okay, ToolSin. We're just playing, but I feel like we covered a lot of ground here, and might have actually said a few things that haven't been said before. So, I hope some people learned about the project and really enjoyed the chat. And I want to actually say, this is the first time we've done an AMA style space, ToolSin. Usually we present the project and people will come up and ask maybe one or two questions, but this is the first time we've had the host ask structured questions the way you did, and I just want to thank you for doing that. You've done some bit of research on the project ahead of time, and I appreciated how the voice chat went today.
Yeah, I mean, I like a casual, more conversational approach. I wouldn't call it necessarily too structured. I just try to keep in my head sort of the big points I want to touch on, and then still leave room for tangents and conversation.
I think I probably handled a lot of those tangents, and I think Jimmy probably handled a lot of the structure. So that's worked out well.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you're a team. You both have your individual strengths, right?
Yeah, 100%. We're both very lucky that we're in very different sides of the field and in terms of our strengths, and so it's worked really well for our project. And it also works really well when we jump on any AMAs or any interviews like that.
I say, well, unfortunately, I do regret to inform you that you're currently the fourth longest out of was it
Ah, jeez.
quite a lot actually, out of about 80, I think actually. So,
I'll take it.
Well,
I'll
that's
take
not
it.
bad.
but yeah,
Fourth
you're
isn't too
you're
bad.
you're you're behind Ape Society at Metaplanes. And Adenauts. There, if you keep me on for like another 3 minutes, then you'll start skipping past all of those.
Keep an eye on Metaplanes. I'm not ready. There might be a cool partnership happening there with the Raccoons.
Oh,
Big.
oh, that's
Yeah.
that's that. Oh, yeah. I'm. That's got me quite excited actually. I really like the Metaplanes guys.
And you can imagine like what
Guys.
they've done, like if you've seen the other planes they've done with projects. Um, so yeah, not ready to announce, but I might have accidentally just announced. But like, there's going to be some cool stuff coming.
Well,
I'm glad it was
there's like
received in your way, Alfie.
45 people that will disagree with you on the fact that you've not announced it.
Well, I gave away a lot of alpha, I think, myself accidentally, so I'm glad that to me made a slip there. Makes me feel a lot better.
I say, well, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't pull out something you didn't want to give away.
Yes, you did very well. I think we've given out more than we have for anything else.
I say, well, I do want to thank you both for turning up. Incredibly muchly. Like it's been an absolute pleasure. I could easily carry on for another couple of hours, to be honest. But it's been awesome. I
Well,
also want to give an even bigger thank you to the audience because this really wouldn't have happened without you. You've all been amazing. Love the questions and the fact that you're still here 2 hours later really shows that the love that you have for the Raccoon Society. Like it's awesome. It's heartwarming and yeah, it's brilliant.
we're very lucky to have such a good community and such a strong support behind us. So we're very grateful for everyone coming up today and listening to us babble on for a while. And thank you for all your questions. And yeah, hopefully we'll see a lot of you in the Discord.
Thanks everyone. Thanks ToolSin.
Yeah,
Bye
have a
now.
good. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off there.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to round off, but yeah, sorry.
No, it's all you ToolSin. Yeah, I think we're ready to wrap up.
Cool. So yeah, if you are, if you were unfortunate enough not to make this live and you're watching this back on YouTube, make sure you give it a like and a share. Make sure that any friends that you have that might be interested in the Raccoon Society, but give them a look. Make sure you send it to anyone that just really likes cool rendered art like that because it's stunning. Check out the links below. There'll be links to Twitter, there'll be links to the website, and obviously Discord. So make sure you hop in them, check them out, and say hello. And on that note, have a great evening, everyone. Thank you again for turning up, and we'll see you all again soon.
Thanks, Toulson. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Bye bye.